Morning, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. It's been really cold, and hopefully we're going to get some rain overnight, so it's very overcast today. But I did do a lot of cleanup yesterday. I still have a lot to go. So let me talk over what you just saw in that early footage. Basically, 2 days ago, I did the roses. And because I did these exactly like the other ones up front, the same techniques, I didn't film it. So I cut these guys way back, which is great, because they were very overgrown. So this is looking a lot better. I came through here and cut back a lot of this helichrysum, licorice plant, and then also pulled out as many dead leaves as I could of the lamb's ear, because in here we actually do have snowdrops, which are having a hard time coming up because the lamb's ear has just taken over. I do have a spot here that I'm thinking I might put one of the new roses that I got, which I'm excited to show you guys. There are tulips in here. I'm sorry, not tulips, daffodils in here. But I pulled up a couple of dead plants right in this area. And so I think I can put that rose bush right here. But we'll see. We'll see. I have some other options. Cleaned out this green stalk, which it desperately needed, because it was herbs mostly, and they were all dead. So that's gonna have to get a little bit of new soil, before the season starts, and we'll put new plants and stuff in there. This is the hottest corner of the property. It gets not full day sun, but it gets morning sun until around, especially in the summertime, till around 2 o'clock, and then it just radiates heat from the walls and everything. And so this is a great place. I've grown tomatoes in containers here for years. It's a great place to do tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that, because it's really hot over here in the summer. And then these containers, I cut everything back. I don't know that they'll come back, but that's okay. And mostly they didn't die from cold. They died from lack of water. I'm not used to watering things in the wintertime, but we've gone for about 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks, without any precipitation at all. And so, things need water. Cleaning up in the cottage garden. So there's lots and lots of seedlings in here that are from, well, some of them are just weeds. That's all weeds. Actually, there's a whole bunch of weeds. So I should come in here with my hoe. This guy has to come out. But I cut back all the salvias, the buddleias, all this kind of stuff. So I still need to come in and do some major weeding of things that don't belong in here. But we do have lots of daffodils in here. We've got some emperor alliums and some other stuff in here. But I'm also thinking of putting, I think this might be a really good spot for one of the roses I just bought that gets about 2 to 4 feet high, which is great because these salvias get up to about 4.5, 5 feet. And so it wouldn't be too tall. It would be a nice area. I could keep it, pruned enough to give a nice show, but also not take over the area. So I'm thinking that's a good spot. Went through here and pulled up, cut back a lot of the dead, because it's normal for this stuff to die back throughout the year. And so I pulled back as much of the dead Dusty Miller as I could. And you can see there's just so much here throughout the cottage garden. This is all stuff that was grown from seed many years ago, and it loves it here. So I just keep cutting it back. I have more to do on the back side there. You can see some dead stuff. I started going through here and cutting some things back. Basically, I still need to weed, but what I'm doing at this point is basically giving everything a major haircut, cutting back all the salvias, all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be what I continue to do today. All of this needs to get cut way back, all those sprigs basically. I need to come in here and this is going to be interesting. So this is where the gopher caused havoc. I did catch that gopher the first day that I set out traps, and so we don't have that issue anymore, but they really did do a number. I mean, all this soil is all turned over. So, I've got weeds in here that need to come out, but it's going to make it harder with these big mounds of soil, so that's going to take some time, and it's very wet right now because of the moisture we got overnight. So not excited about getting down and dirty, but I am going to keep trimming back all of this stuff. I can come in and cut all that stuff back. So like I have some salvias here that need to get cut back. All this Dusty Miller that's mushy needs to get cut back. This is all germander in here. All this needs a major haircut, very short, and they'll start growing again. So that's kind of what I'm going to be focusing on today, is getting all this stuff trimmed. And then I'll have to come back through to do a lot of weeding. Now we do have foxgloves back here that self-sowed from last year. They will produce beautiful flowers this year. And I've got other things in here like calendula and stuff that was sown last year. And so once those seedlings that are in the greenhouse now, the perennials that are in there now, once they are big enough and the weather's warm enough, I'll do some more weeding through here, because this is basically just a whole bunch of seedlings, either from foxglove or lupins or some of these other plants that drop a bunch of seeds. And some of it is also just ground cover weeds. So I'll come in with a hoe and everything, but then we'll have open spots where we can put more perennials. So this cottage garden is a total mess, and it needs major overhaul. This is a multiple day job. So I'm just gonna take it in little chunks and do as much as I can. I also cleaned out all the dead stuff from the strawberry green stalk. And I do have another 6-pack of new strawberries, because strawberry crowns after a couple of years just stop being productive. And I can see a lot of these in here are like this one, it may have one leaf on it, but if you look at it, there's a lot of dead stuff on this crown. So basically what I'm going to do is come in here and I will fill almost all the pockets with new fresh strawberry plants. And those this year will send out runners. See, the other way is that this past season, I got strawberries off of this green stalk, but hardly any of the plants sent out runners. That's generally when they're like in their last stages, the last gasps, because they don't even have enough energy to make daughter plants. And so, it's just time to refresh this. We'll put fresh strawberries in there. And it'll be nice because we'll get a nice harvest this year instead of a really small one. And I went and cleaned out the herb tower. This is also a mess. So I'll also have to come through here and pull out, like there was some pockets where like things just died. So, that stuff got pulled out. So one of the reasons I did a major trim is that as the weather gets warmer, I'll be able to see which plants are coming back and which plants aren't, so that then I know which seeds to start for herbs, or I can pick up some herbs at the store. So I did get a couple things at the plant nursery the other day just because I couldn't help myself. I went and I did get 2 roses, and I'll show you. They're in a pot up front. They're in pots up front. But I picked up a few things, and these are going to be for the cottage garden, with the exception of the strawberries. These are June bearing strawberries, which I will be putting in the green stalk. But then we also have epilobium. This is the Canum variety. I'll see if I can this is California fuchsia. I'll see if I can get a photo up for you guys. But it is very drought tolerant. It's great for it's great for pollinators because it's a fuchsia. It's got those tubular flowers. So it'll be really nice in the cottage garden. This is a ceanothus, and I don't think the variety is listed on here. No, I wish it did. Oh yeah, Dark Star. I'm going to try to find a picture for you, but this one looked amazing. We have a lot of ceanothus in here. It's a native of California. It has beautiful blue blooms, but this one was really just profusely flowered, and so I'm really excited to put that in. And because it's a native, once it's established, it's completely hardy and drought tolerant. Okay, and then over here I cut back a lot of stuff. Basically gave everything a haircut, especially the yarrow that's in there. It looks terrible now, but there's actually plenty of fresh new growth down in here, and so that'll be just fine. But I am considering, so this is a lantana. I'm considering putting one of the roses here in the middle. The problem with that, because it would look nice if it was right in the middle, and it's not going to get very tall. Because the main reason we we pulled what was originally here out. I'll try to link that video, I think 2 years ago. There was a really large Japanese maple that was here that whoever planted it there obviously didn't see how big it was going to get. And it was enormous, absolutely enormous. It was beautiful, but it was starting to crack the patio because it was growing underneath. The trunk on it was about 6 inch, it was like a 6-inch diameter. I mean, it was huge. There was also Nandina, which I absolutely hate here. And that stuff spreads like wildfire. We have it in the front too that somebody else planted at some point, and I just hate it. It's so awful. Has red berries on it that are poisonous to birds. It's just terrible. So that was like a big hedge here, and it really got so tall that it was like covering a lot of the view from the windows. And so we pulled all of that out, had to dig really deep to get a lot of it out. It's a small bed. And then we planted these lavender, a bunch of thyme for the ground cover, which has taken over great, and then some lantana and some other stuff. I did have 2 Weigela in here, but they never, ever did anything. They just always looked awful. They hated it here. So they basically died back. I was like, fine, I'm pulling them out. So I do have spots. In the past, the last couple years, I've either put a bunch of sunflowers in that back row, and they look so cute in the sun, like the low growing sunflowers, like hedge sunflowers. And they really look adorable against the house and behind these front row plants. So we might do some of that. I don't know. I've got plenty of time to decide. And I also have, again, I can put some of these perennials that are in the greenhouse here as well, because I've started a bunch of them. So I haven't made any decisions yet, but I do need to find homes for these 2 roses. So let me show you what those are. Okay, so obviously they don't look anything like anything right now because it's winter time and they are basically dormant. But this is the first one I got. It's called Romantica Ball Gown. And it is just a gorgeous rose. Apparently it has just the classic rose fragrance, but look at all that. I think it had 100 petals. After I decided on that, I realized there was another one that looked similar, but had 200 petals. Crazy. Anyway, I think this will be really, really fun. It is a variety that is supposedly very good for cutting. So nice long stems and not like, you know, sometimes roses get all those like strange 90-degree angles everywhere and it's hard to use them as a cutting flower. But this one apparently is nice, long, straight stems. So I'm looking forward to that. So the mature size of this one is up to 6 feet in height and 2 to 3 feet wide in width. So knowing that, I mean, I can always control it with, you know, pruning, but knowing that, it makes me figure out where I need to put it. Okay, and then the next one, this one's called Edith's Darling, and this is actually from the Downton Abbey series, apparently, of roses. But I just really like these colors. Really, really pretty. It doesn't say it on this tag, but this one, max height is 4 feet, and the width is about 2 feet. So that also helps me figure out like where do I want to put these. And of course with roses, they need about 6 hours of direct sun in order to do well. Other than that, you know, people always think of roses as being very finicky, but I don't find that. I find that they, once you get them in, they are happy to just grow, and then you just have to really control them to keep them under wraps. Okay, so those are the 2 roses. I didn't buy a lot because they were expensive. And I thought about getting a matching set and maybe putting them in 2 containers, but I decided against that. We can maybe think about that later. But I think I don't want to add too many roses because again, that's a lot of thorny things that then I have to take care of. It's usually not my go-to. And I think this year, again, and this will be the last time I try it if it doesn't work, I want to try to do clematis again. I didn't do it last year, but the year before, and then the year before that, I tried growing them and something ate the plant. Like I did get some blooms, but then something ate the plant literally at the root, you know, at the soil level, chopped it in half. I don't know if it was a mouse or a rat or something. And it never came back. So my initial idea, and I've cleaned these out, was to grow one each up these trellises, and I still would like to attempt to do that. So once the clematis come out, they're not in the shops yet, then I'll try it one more time and we'll see what happens. I may have to grow, create a little cage around the plant itself, because usually when you get them, they're pretty small. And it can grow through that cage, but maybe that will protect it from getting eaten at the base. I don't know. It's weird. In these containers, when I first started them, I had basically a bit strawberry, sweet alyssum, strawberry, sweet alyssum, all the way around. I did the same thing on this one. The sweet alyssum, over time, it's a wonderful plant. Over time, it just gets kind of like how lavender gets really woody. This sweet alyssum gets like, not woody so much, but like kind of dies off and only the growth is on the very end. And so it just was looking ragged. I knew even giving it a sharp prune wasn't going to really fix the problem. So I went ahead and pulled those out. They're easy to start from seed, so I can do that again. But these pots need some more soil anyway. And I think I'm just going to go with all strawberries around. I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 sweet alyssum because they're really good for bringing in pollinators. We'll see. Those are kind of my plans at this point, but the biggest job is going to be this, and I just need to get started this morning. I think if I can make it from where I left off all the way down here, just trimming everything, then I'll be happy for the day, because I have to clean the house. There's a lot of other stuff going on, so this will be my job for the day. All right, I'm going to get started. Hopefully we can make good progress, and then all that'll be left is like weeding, which is going to be a big job because some of it's going to have to be done by hand. Some of those plants are really big and they need to be dug up by hand, not just hoed. Okay, I'm going to get started. Oh, and today I'm listening to a book. I just started the book Snow by Ronald Malfi. I've read a few of his books. It's good horror, suspense. Yeah. I'll be listening to that while I'm working. So you probably noticed I changed tactics a little bit partway through, and let's talk about it. So what I had in here, and I initially had started cutting, and you can see me, I've cut it there, were a bunch of germander plants. And when I put those in, they were very small, and they grew, and the first 2 years they were wonderful. But then this year, mostly my fault, I didn't do any trimming. And so the bottom of them was all woody. And when I started doing the haircuts, I realized this is not really going to come back. And as I was cutting, I noticed they were covering up all of the spring bulbs that I have in here. Like all of these guys were completely buried by this one germander plant. And there's a lot more in here that were covered up. There's another section. So I decided, since for the most part I want to completely redo this entire bed, I'm just going to pull them out. And so I'm much happier having done that. So I have all these open spaces. I'm not going to plant anything probably until I've got all the daffodils up and happy. That will help me see where they are, first of all. I'm pretty sure almost all of the daffodils in here are along this front border. But when I initially did this bed, I didn't do a great job of planning where to put the tallest stuff and the shortest stuff. That was years ago. And the initial bed was actually much narrower. It was only a foot wide. Then we expanded it out another foot. So this is already a narrow bed. I'm actually even more excited now. I'm going to pull out a lot of stuff and cut a lot more stuff back. So all of this over here, I'm basically going to pull up almost 90% of this ground cover. And there's a lot of grass and stuff that all needs to come up. And as things start to put on some growth, I'll be able to evaluate better where I have holes, which there's going to be a lot of them. There used to be a whole bunch of ground cover up in the front here. I had sweet alyssum and some like crassula or something like that. And so a lot of that has just gotten taken over by prunella or self-heal, which is a native here. It grows in the grass. It's a lovely little herb, but I don't want an entire cottage garden full of that. So I'm going to do some major cleaning in here, really pull back everything that I don't want. And we'll start from scratch kind of and have this will be a new bed this year, which will be exciting because the last couple of years, it hasn't really produced as well as the initial couple of years. And again, that's because I haven't been keeping up with it. I didn't do a really good job of the pruning and stuff like that. And then the stuff that was small has gotten huge and it's too far forward. So yeah, I'm really excited. I said I was going to do an overhaul, but I didn't think I was going to be doing this much of an overhaul, but now I'm really excited because, I've started all these perennials, which is great. I can always buy some others. The thing that I've always noticed about this bed, this cottage garden bed, is that it's beautiful in the spring and early summer. But then when our heat hits, kind of nothing's happening in here in the summertime, like the late summer. And then in the fall, all of the salvias and stuff take over. So I would really like to plan this better and have a bunch of stuff that will be blooming in the summer, like late summer. And maybe that's going to be annuals. And I'm fine with that. I also have a whole bunch of plugs coming for the farm, and I won't have enough bed space for all of them out there, so they can go in here as well. And not all of those are annuals. So I can put Lysianthus in here, and those will be perennial here. I can put more dahlias in here because I'm going to take a ton of cuttings this year when the dahlia tubers arrive. So I'm really excited. But I think what I'm actually going to do and be smart about it for once is instead of just being hodgepodge, even though cottage gardens are hodgepodge, I'm actually going to map it. Draw a nice map, a really good one on a big scale so I can really plug in plants. Putting what's already in here and then I'll know where my holes are and I'll start planning heights of plants and stuff like that to get going. So I'll take you along on that ride, but I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be fun. Because like I said, for the past couple of years, I've kind of ignored it. Done some basic cleaning up, but that's been it. But now it needs a major overhaul, and I'm ready for it. I have some time to devote to it, so I'll just start at one end, do the deep weeding, cleaning out. Then we'll have a lot of exposed soil. So I might, actually that'll be good because what it really needs is another dose of fresh compost, a little layer, maybe 2 inches to regenerate the soil. And as we go, I'll just map what we've got. So yeah, I'm excited about that. It's going to take a long time. This is probably, 2 weeks worth of work, because especially with the weeding, but it's not spring yet. We've got plenty of time, and I want to wait until the tulips are up before I really start coming in here and gutting things, because I don't want to be pulling up not tulips, I keep saying that, till the daffodils are up. These are heirloom daffodils. They're frilly and fancy, and I use them for cuts, but they're also just beautiful. And so I want to make sure I can keep those safe from getting destroyed. Plus, while I was pruning in here, I noticed a whole lot more irises, bearded irises. They have multiplied. Like I'd hoped. And so again, I want to make sure I can protect everything. So yeah, this is just the beginning. Like here's this clump that I was talking about. Look at all these irises. I mean, this started with a single plant. Look at that. I'm so excited. I don't even know which one it is. I think it's the black suited variety because I think those are the first ones I put in here. But that is just awesome. They're spreading, they're doing their thing, and those get really tall, so they can stay in the back It's totally fine. But yeah, I'm excited about that. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you have any suggestions or anything you'd like to see me plant in here, let me know. Right now in my head, it's going to be 99% perennials. So we'll still have Dusty Miller, lots of salvias, foxgloves, which are biennial, but they end up being kind of perennial because they drop a ton of seed and then they come back. We have hollyhocks. We have some grasses, lavender, lupines, calendula, irises. Trying to think of what else we've got in here. And then of course all the bulbs. Lots of salvias and buddleia. And so yeah, I want to add some more perennials, and then we can always pop in annuals wherever we want to kind of add extra color. So I'm excited. Oh, we got snowberry. Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of stuff in here. So the other thing is I want to make sure that some of this stuff will be coming back. I do see fresh green growth on a lot of the things I cut back, so that's good. But I don't know about that end where the gopher did a lot of damage. There could be root damage and things may not come back. So I might have to put some new things in the back row, bigger things that are fresh and new. So, okay. Again, thank you for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.